What new economic thinking do you think we should pursue, develop, enhance? Questions for each one of you.
Wow. Part of the problem is I think you really want to ask the question of a younger guy. Because there is this problem of having been in it so long, you have your own set way of thinking. But look, I think we need a lot more empirical work, a lot more evidence-based work. We're seeing a renaissance, certainly in the areas I'm interested in. We're actually seeing a lot of really good empirical work on things like the effects of fiscal policy, which was much neglected. And neglected partly because it didn't seem to be a live issue, but also because we had this sort of crippling orthodoxy of believing that everything must be derived from rational behavior of individuals, and if you can't derive it that way, then it must not exist. And if we adopt a kind of looser jointed, more open-minded way of approaching how the economy works, then I think we open the door. I don't think we're ready for a lot of grand new theories at this point, but I think we have the opportunity to have a lot of people looking at how things actually work. What actually happens in a recession? What actually happens in a recovery? What happens when spending is increased or cut? We're getting a lot of natural experiments out of, bad times are good for generating interesting data. And that's where I would go.
Well, I don't know where to begin. Since we have only a limited amount of time, it will take a couple hours to really talk about how to begin a new economic thinking. The point where I agree very strongly with Paul is that there needs to be more openness in the way that economics is approached. I'm not sure whether the really relevant focus ought to be on empirics. I mean, a lot of the problem is the theory that was brought to bear in seeing the world led them to look at the world through the wrong empirical lens. So there are, for 25 years, 30 years, there has been a lot of empirical work in economics driven with the view that markets are rational, everybody's rational expectations. So they have this very strong lens, and anything that was outside that lens, somehow they couldn't see. And they shaped all the empirics into that frame. There is even today, there's a professor at Harvard, even after the crisis, who's been writing a paper saying that there's this notion of expansionary contraction, that somehow austerity actually leads to economic growth.
So I'll take from this concluding question the notion that we should try to inoculate people from the position that they only see what they believe. And we should try to bring them back to believe that which they see.
Yeah, if not, a little bit of humility here is a very powerful thing. Let's see what a humble person I am, and Joe too, actually. But seriously, the accepting that maybe you don't have the truth with two capital T's. That maybe these beautiful models that you've been teaching are not the only way to see the world. We had this tremendous doctrinariness about macroeconomics, amazingly without any
evidence.
Without any empirical triumphs to justify it, and intellectual arrogance is almost certainly really bad thing.
What's quite remarkable is that some of the advocates of those models that failed so badly have actually written that this is the era, even now, of the triumph of macroeconomics. So what it shows is that some parts of economics are immune to reality,
wow.
and they are a religion, not a science. And hopefully INET will be able to make a dent in that kind of armor.
Yes, that's what, yeah. It's, and those people will never admit that they were wrong, but it's, that's the old line. I'm reading about, for light reading, I'm reading about the development of quantum theory, and I think it was Max Planck who said that science progresses funeral by funeral.
Well, I think tonight, far from a funeral, I think tonight you brought a lot of life to this audience, to the questions of economics, the challenge of INET, and I'm grateful to you both for an excellent discussion. And thank you all for being here.